Right, that's it. Hi everyone, welcome to the chat. Just want to say a massive thank you to Marita for being my first guest, and hopefully I'll get many more, but if they don't like me, they won't come on, so we'll see. Um, yeah, so what's going to happen, guys, I'm going to ask Marita a few questions. Then I'm going to leave it to you guys to ask any questions that you want to ask, and then we'll get the usuals on Ellie and Leah and Matt if he's up for it. So, yeah. So, if that sounds all right, Marita,
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
uh, it's a pleasure. Pleasure's all mine. But, yeah, so, hi, Jackson. Before we start, can I just say thank you very much, Kathy, for becoming a channel member. Really appreciate it. So, thank you. You're awesome. Right. Right. Okay, then. So, first question I want to ask you, Marita, is
Okay.
at what age did you get interested in spiders, and at what age did you get your first one?
Oh, that's a great question. So I grew up in the hills of California, in
Mm-hmm.
the Napa Valley area. So there was quite a bit of reptile wildlife there, and we had some cool spiders and stuff, but not tarantulas. So I was very interested in the snakes and lots of frogs in that area. It floods a lot. And there was a river in Napa. I would like to go down into the riverbed and hike the mountains when I was a little kid. Then in when I was 8 years old, I moved from California to New Mexico,
Yeah.
and I spent over 30 years in New Mexico. I was blown away. There were huge tarantulas, scorpions, centipedes, vinegaroons, animals that looked like something out of a horror film, and everybody was so afraid of them. And they had a really bad rap. People would say things like, "Don't let the centipede get you. You'll have to burn it off." People would say that a bite from a tarantula was deadly, which, of course, well, that's not true. And especially the tarantulas of North America are far more docile, no medically significant venom whatsoever. But I started to see that actually the animals were not very aggressive. They, of course, would try to hide and get away from you. People would spray them with bug spray, and uh, I was very much, my mother was an animal lover and she would rescue animals, and she was kind of a country vet. All the people in the neighborhood would bring their livestock to our property to get their vaccinations. And we had some other neighbors that were down on their luck and had a little tiny dog with a broken leg. And we really wanted them to take the dog to the vet, and they didn't have the money. So she set the dog's leg with a popsicle stick, and that dog made a full recovery. So I grew up very much around animals and being encouraged to kind of explore, it's on a safe level. So when I was 8 was when I started getting super interested in large invertebrates. And then in my late teens, early 20s, I discovered the exotic animal industry. I started realizing that people kept tarantulas. There were beautiful color tarantulas. There
Mm.
were, people that kept cobras and gaboon vipers. And I thought, okay, that's really awesome. So I got into the tarantula and reptile world in the 90s, and which is where I met my husband, which you got to visit with. He's my sound guy. And from there, the rest was history, because once we combined both of our collections and our knowledge, it just, we've kind of gone crazy since then, most people would say. So,
Yeah.
90s, that was probably the long answer to your short
Yeah.
question.
That's awesome. Um, right. So, right. As a young lady growing up, did you keep any spiders? And if so, how many?
So when I was a little kid, I didn't really know that people could keep spiders as pets. I would do things like collect things from the yard and put it in a little jar. I would make an ant farm. I would get a jar of dirt and get a stick and sit in front of the ant hill and wait for one ant to crawl up on the stick, and then just tap the stick on the edge So I would keep that ant farm. I put a little sponge with water in there and some grass. I didn't really know what ants ate. I would keep things for a little while and kind of study them and observe them, but then I would let them go. I didn't realize that there was a whole industry out there when I was a little kid of people keeping invertebrates sort of as pets. And so I would say that I kept things experimentally. I would keep things even for like a summer and then let it go before it got cold. But I didn't really start keeping them, like buying something and keeping it for its lifetime, until I got a little bit older.
Awesome. Right. Uh, do you have a favourite genus or a favourite spider?
Well, that's hard to say. Um, I love a lot of the blue and purple stuff, but to me, Epibophus cyanonathus is it doesn't even look real. I know that overall, maybe it's not the most beautiful and not the most impressive,
Hmm.
but when those blue fangs flash, it's a
Yeah.
blue fang spider. That's just um it's hard for me to say favorite because there's so many that when I see it, I think, oh my gosh, that's my favorite. But if you're just gonna hit me on the top of the head and say, what's your favorite? Answer me now. I'd say Cyanonathus.
Awesome. If you had to get rid of all your spiders and could only keep one, what one would you keep?
One spider or one
Yeah.
genus or one
One
species?
spider. One
Oh
spider.
gosh. I have one Smith eye that I've had for over 20 years.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
yeah, I would have to keep that one specific animal. Um, gosh, that's kind of a heartbreaking question, but off the
Mm,
top of my head, that's the one tarantula I would keep.
yeah. I think it'd be an hard choice for a lot of people, wouldn't it? Really, if you got the love of spiders, you get attached to them all. So
Definitely.
yeah, yeah. Right, you've recently wrote a fantasy novel
Hmm.
uh called The Horus.
Oris, yes.
Horus, yeah. Um, what was the inspiration behind that, and how did you come up with the title?
Well, I am a professional. I have a master's degree. There's a lot of serious things about me, but the reality is I'm just a grown-up kid, and
Yeah,
I still love whimsy and fantasy. I like to read fantasy books and watch fantasy movies. And our family is kind of like a brain trust. We like to come up with ideas and businesses and debate different topics about religion and philosophy and also fantasy type ideas, fictional storylines and things like that. Well, my husband and youngest son is far more creative than I am, and they're always coming up with these just totally off the wall ideas, which their founding concepts were what came up. Who came up with my science fiction novel, the one that got published before Urus, the Infinidon. But we were in the car one day, and instead of listening to music or things like that when we travel, which we do frequently, my husband said, "Okay, I need an idea that is purely you, not inspired by any one of us. We're just going to stay silent and we just want to hear whatever ideas you come up with for some kind of book." And I said, "Well, fantasy for sure, because that's probably my top favorite genre." And he said, "Okay,
mhm.
what kind of fantasy creatures?" And I said, "Mermaids." And he said, "Boring." And I said, "Okay, alien mermaids." And he said, "All right, that's a little more interesting. Tell me about their world." And I said, "Well, if I were to write a book," and this was years ago, "if I were to write a book about some beautiful, first of all, I'd want them to be like so beautiful and amazing, but also too, like there would not be a hierarchy, there would not be an economy, there would be no war, no strife. It would just be this perfect utopian society of love and generosity." And so we're talking, and he said, "But that's not possible because people have to eat, and people fall in love, and they get jealous, and people have to live and survive. And so I jumped through about 1,000 hoops to figure out a way that a society could be totally peaceful. And so what I did was I removed all the constructs that create conflict, like they don't eat, they absorb nutrients through photosynthesis. So there's no arguing over food and resources. There are no carnivorous predators where they live, so they're not being preyed upon, so they don't have fear. Um, Another thing is they do not reproduce. And so there's no love, marriage, jealousy, all that stuff. Of course, then you would think if they don't reproduce and they don't eat food and they don't X, Y, and Z, first of all, how do they survive and how did they get there? And second of all, what's your plot? So the beginning of the story is this utopian society, and of course, dun dun dun, things go horribly wrong. Their society winds up in crisis, and their survival ends up being threatened. And so they have to go on this epic journey, which of course that's where things start to get hairy. And you'd have to read the book to find out what ultimately happens to them. But basically, my inspiration for that book was a lot of times when you learn about writing and being an author, a good concept is write the book that you would want to read. And I wanted to read a book about a beautiful, perfect place where there is no money, and there is no, hierarchy, and there is no government, and there is no sadness. And so that is the book I wrote, which obviously things get complicated, but it was a really amazing, fun project. And everybody that's read it, it has 5 stars on Amazon. Everybody that I know that's read it or who has contacted me said that it transported them to another world and it was so exciting. And as far as the inspiration for the title, the planet that they live on is in a solar system with 2 stars, and their planet is exactly in the center of the galaxy. And so the planet, by gravitational pull, is being pulled by 2 different suns, and the planet is in the shape of an hourglass. And so Urus, the name of the planet is Urus, inspired by an hourglass.
Awesome. Is that available to buy online now, that book?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
They both, yeah. All the books I've published are available on Amazon internationally.
Awesome. So if you're into your reading, jump on Amazon and go and purchase one of them books. Right. Right, now you're the CEO of I'm gonna absolutely torture this name. Is it Lobiek Farms?
Oh, Laura Becky Farms. Kind
Yeah.
of like the 2 first
And
names, Laura Becky Farms.
right, and also the exotic animal zoo.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So was that always on the cards to open them?
Well, so right now we're a sanctuary that's not open to the public. We're more of a conservancy that is more focused on the care and the reproduction of the animals. I don't know if we will open to the public in the future, because that's a whole nother element of essentially entertainment.
Yeah.
That unless we brought on a whole lot more staff would long term kind of take away from the animals. It would be more like hosting guests and making sure that um, everything is in perfect presentation, because a lot of times we're building things that's a project that's over several weeks, and it looks kind of messy. And of course, like tarantulas and snakes and stuff, you feed them once a week, you clean them once a week. They're animals, unlike mammals, that don't take daily maintenance. And so a lot of people who weren't familiar with those animals, if they saw a shed or a bolus or poop in an enclosure, people may think that it's unhygienic or neglectful.
Yeah.
Any
Yeah.
animals that were on display to the public, we'd have to essentially make sure those enclosures were, fun to look at, perfectly clean, once to twice a day. Especially, so we do have wallabies and things like that, and they're very messy. I mean, they get in, they tear stuff up, and they jump all over the place, and they take a lot of maintenance and a lot of care. And so for us, like their droppings look kind of like rabbit poop. So basically, you just like sweep it up, and it's good manure for the garden and stuff. I know that to sweep it off is no big deal. But if a customer or a client or a patron were to come in and see poop somewhere, like in their bedding or something like that, people might. It would just be a whole nother. Plus, we'd have to get ramps, and we'd have to get a parking lot, and there's a
Yeah.
whole lot of legal hoops to jump through. It's a whole different aspect of business to be open to the public. But we have been building our collection that we have now since about 2000, and it's been very slowly growing. We have a miniature livestock farm. We have all of our reptiles, all of our invertebrates, and we also have giant tortoises and rabbits and things like that. And
That's awesome.
I have about 100 birds. I have peacocks and peahens and chickens and quail and ducks and geese. Um, so our business we brought from New Mexico to Texas in 2020. So I
Hmm.
would say the Laura Becky Farms that you see online now, where it's been established since 2020. The business itself since about 2005, and yeah, every day we're just growing and evolving and building and trying to improve things.
That's awesome.
Hmm.
Can I just say a quick thank you to Somerset Spiders for this super sticker, and also Anton. Thank you guys, appreciate it. Um, right, is there any of you guys in chat that got a question for Marita? Oh, Scott's got one. Somerset Spiders. What are your thoughts on the price of tarantulas in the USA versus UK?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's really interesting. I know in Canada things are much more expensive. I really don't know much about the prices in Europe. Are they higher or lower than they are here?
Mm. They they're more pricier over where you are, aren't they? Than
That's what I thought. Yeah, because I
yeah,
know that you have more availability there, and a lot of times you guys get animals imported first, and then you can get the offspring established in the hobby. You most species long before we can, unless they come here illegally, which does happen on occasion. Um, so I have mixed feelings on it because I know for a fact how difficult it is to care for the animals and reproduce them and raise all the spiderlings and all that stuff. So they certainly have a value. And I think if
mm,
they were free or almost free, people might get them and not care for them. But overall, I would like that if someone who has a passion and an interest in an animal, I would like that they could be able to get it. And a tarantula you can keep in a really small enclosure almost regardless of where you live, as long as it's legal. I mean, they can live very comfortably in an apartment, in a spiderling can live in a medicine vial. You could
yeah,
put it in anything. And so I would like that tarantulas be more accessible to people. And I know quite a few people with pretty serious mental health conditions that are living in tough situations that can't have dogs or cats or horses or most pets, but they have their tarantulas, and to them that tarantula is kind of a lifeline. And I would like that they could be more accessible to people. So to me, the more affordable the better. But I
yeah.
also understand that the people importing them and producing them also too need to make some kind of a profit.
Yeah. Anton says, can he get an autograph?
Absolutely. Just email me at Deadly Tarantula Girl at Yahoo. That's another thing. If anybody wants to buy an autographed copy of my novel, then you can just email me and order it through email. I order it from Amazon and have it shipped to me and sign it, and then I ship it to you, and you guys pay through PayPal or Facebook, however is easier.
Oh, that's awesome. That'd be brilliant. Let's have a look. Is your book available on Kindle version?
Yes, the two novels that I've published so far are available in print or through Kindle. And I think the Infinidon is free still through Kindle Unlimited. And I'm not sure if Aura still is. Those promotions go for a period of time. I need to check on that.
Yeah. A question of Scott. What does your family and friends think about your invert hobby?
My husband is just as crazy as I am. In fact, I'm the one that has to put the brakes sometimes on how many animals we're collecting. So he's totally gung ho. My kids don't mind, but their favorite thing in the world to do is not to feed and water spiders. So they're all pretty much grown and gone now. And so they're like, yeah, have as many as you want. But when it was time to sit down and separate 1,000 spiderlings, it was not their idea of a good time, although they were really good at it. My
Yeah.
friends mainly all think I'm completely batshit crazy, and that's fine with me.
Okay. Anybody else got any questions? Anton's just gone for a cold shower. Susan's saying, email address, please.
Oh, yes. It's deadlytarantulagirl@yahoo.com.
There you go, Susan. Right. Hello, everybody that's coming. Sorry, I haven't been chatting much. Right, can somebody post the full email if they have it? Anton's asking. And thank you again for the thing, Anton. Are you Darren? Scott's asking, what changes have you seen in the hobby over the years?
Well, good stuff mostly. I would say the major changes that I've seen in the hobby are when I first got into the hobby, there was a very real issue of there not being a lot of printed literature on tarantula care and reproduction and things like that. So anytime you got an animal, you had to really guess. There were a few really great books. Not all of them were in English. That made it difficult. And I mean, you would go through the books and look at the scientific names and the pictures and try to kind of guess. And then you would think, oh, that's not what I have. And then you find out years later that, oh, well, I did have that, but it was a male and the photo was of a female. So it was very much firsthand learning, learning through trial and error, unfortunately. Uh, Learning what's arboreal and what's terrestrial, kind of based experimentally on their enclosures and things like that. Thank you, honey. So these were some of the first books. I have a pretty
I'll just put you on
resource
big
library.
screen a minute.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, so these were some of the first tarantula books that I had that I would refer to. And you can see that that one I struggled to read a bit. Vogel Spinning, of course, you guys probably all know about that one. This again was kind of a Bible for me.
Yeah.
The de Miguel. That was one that I would just look through all the pictures and kind of dream of a day when I had cabinets full of spiders. So not having access, then the people that were learning these things they would not share it with the people around them. They wanted to guard that as a secret and keep it for themselves so they could be the only one to reproduce and the only one to keep a species successfully. And I wasn't so interested in profits as I was the viability of the species. So the last thing I wanted to do was get a beautiful animal and end up killing it, or get an egg sac and then have her eat it. And I learned a lot of tough lessons. Oh, of course, I don't know. You guys probably all read these zillions of books by the BTS. I have lots and lots and lots of these. Thank you, honey. Um, Gatekeeping information was just unanimous. People wanted to be kept a secret. They did not want to sell to other people. They did not want to teach other people. And that's the very reason that I started my YouTube channel, was because I wanted to share access. I wanted to grant free access to this information. And I also too wanted to just show people that you could have tarantulas as pets and that you could take care of them relatively easy and that they were a safe pet to keep. And I wanted to show people all the beautiful colors. And so going from a gatekeeping community to a community that's much more sharing and trading and teaching each other, that has been a major change. Of course, the laws. There didn't used to be very many laws that protected invertebrates. Ultimately, people didn't care about them overall. People would send animals overseas in very difficult conditions, and essentially the importers knew that they would have a very low viability rate, and that was just kind of, they were just paying pennies on the dollar for the animals. So whoever lived. And there was a pretty rampant market of people importing animals, any kinds of exotics, and basically just trying to sell it before it died. And then the customers would get these animals that were riddled with parasites and totally dehydrated, and often they would die, and that was a huge risk. Another thing that's changed is that the tarantula market was not accessible to the public back then, and it is now. You cannot go on the internet and look at a list and pick a tarantula and buy it and order it. It was very much, you had to know people, you had to stumble upon a dealer, you had to send them a self-addressed envelope and pay for their list. And often by the time you got the list and saved up the money, you'd send off the money and say what you want. And they would say, well, we don't have that anymore. Or they would send you something totally different. And it was very frustrating and very confusing. There was not a lot of information, and access was very difficult. So also too, almost no one, you would never meet someone in your daily life that also kept tarantulas. It felt like you were the only person in the world that was keeping tarantulas, because the people were so spread out, and we weren't like a community that had access to each other. And so it was very isolating, especially me. I didn't know any other women that were doing it in any way. Of course, you know, the bullying, people saying I was weird and gross, which that I don't care about that. But so it's far more mainstream now too. That's another thing.
Yeah.
Those are the main things that have changed in the last, I don't know, however many years. 20, 30.
There's a question here off Scott. What other hobbies have you got? And you've got a nice stunning eyes.
Oh, thank you. So I don't know, like, if you guys actually follow me or know much about me, but I am a professional belly dancer. I teach dance and yoga on a collegiate level. I have a private dance studio in my house now because I moved to a very remote area. I do model some, and I work as an independent contractor. I sell artwork and photography. I am a pretty serious gardener. Of course, I love animals. I love to write. I write all kinds of different things. I also have 3 children's books written. and some poetry that's been published. The children's books haven't been published yet. And right now I'm writing a manual on chicken keeping. So that should be published before too long. Of course, I love to read. I love to hike. I mean, there's a lot of things I enjoy. Basically, just hi. Anything involving nature, dance. I love music. I don't. My husband is a musician. I don't know how to play music, but I really enjoy listening to music, and I love like listening to documentaries about history and just meeting cool people. It's another fun thing.
Aaron Moon, is there a species of tea that you wouldn't like to own? If so, why?
Gosh, none that I can think of. There are ones that are definitely less friendly. There are some that are more plain. There are some that dig a hole and pretty much never come out. Those are probably less desirable animals, but I wouldn't say that I wouldn't want to have any of them. So no, I would say I'd want to have any of them.
Yeah, you look like you're wearing a hoodie.
Hi, Ellie. Hi, Lewis.
Hello.
Mark, I am converter man. What are your thoughts when the Lacey Act proposal was threatening the hobbies, and do you think it would be tried again?
Okay, so this is. I personally, I have very mixed feelings about the Lacey Act, but I'm against many of our animal protection laws because they don't protect animals as much as they make people money and don't protect animals. I'm all for animal rights and I'm all for protecting species in the wild and things like that. But I don't know that most of the laws that we have, especially in the US, actually are protecting the animals as much as they are funding the government. And that I have a problem with. I also believe in our liberties, and I believe that if someone can properly care for an animal, if they're not harming the animal or harming anyone else, and they can do it in a safe and responsible way, I believe that people should be able to keep the animals. I know there are reasons behind the laws that are at least publicly uh, claiming to be in the best interest of the animal, but a lot of times, especially if animals get banned and things like that, or they're not allowed to be taken across state lines, like with the Lacey Act, ultimately the animals end up suffering. A lot of them get euthanized or neglected, or they don't get bred if they're a rare species. So I'm 2 or 3 hours from the New Mexico border. And if my friend in Carlsbad has the one male within, 3 states that I could pair my female with, and it's an endangered species, the fact that neither of us can take that animal across state lines, ultimately that's to the detriment of the animal. I understand the laws are there in theory to protect the animals, but I don't think they do a very good job. And so I'm for animal advocacy, but it's been proven not to be very effective. So ultimately, long story short, I would say I'm not a proponent of most of the animal advocacy laws. And PETA euthanizes more animals than any other organization annually. And so I'm super against PETA.
Emma, Emma, how has the Lacey Act affected you with tarantulas and the hobby at large?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was reading Anton's comment asking if I've met Brian Barczyk. I have met Brian. I've interviewed him several times. I've met him at the NARBC, and it's super sad what's happening to him right now. So yes, my heart goes out to Brian and his family. Sorry, Mark. What did you ask?
Right, Emma's asking, what's the TMA? How has the Lacey Act affected you with tarantulas and the hobby at large?
How is the Lacey Act? Is that what she asked?
Yeah.
Well, basically, the Lacey Act has affected my animals and I because, so Poecilotheria, for example, was an animal that went on the list that their environment in the wild is not being protected. So in my opinion, the fact that we can't import certain animals, that their natural environment isn't being protected, is kind of pointless. And also, like I said, the Lacey Act specifically, if an animal gets put on that list, that restricts me from either getting that animal or breeding that animal with someone that has it out of state. And so that's how it's affected me or my animals personally.
I think we asked that one earlier, Kitty. Joe. Hi, Deadly. Great to see you on a live. Have you got a favourite species or genus? I think I asked you that one earlier, didn't
Yes, yes.
I? Yeah. Anyone else got any questions? Thank you, everybody that's putting Marita's links in. Appreciate that. You can keep dropping them, that'll be awesome. Haha, Scott, you come home to all your spiders loose in the house, who do you call?
Was that a question to me?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely my husband, because he's one of the people I know that's not afraid and will know whether it's arboreal or terrestrial to look like, is it on the ceiling or did it crawl underneath something?
Anton's, thank you again, Anton. He said he's emailed. Right, Ems, what would you say is a very underrated or overrated species?
Underrated. Well, I would say Ephebopus cyaninatus. Not usually, a lot of people that I mentioned too, they don't even know what it is. And I say, it's the blue fang tarantula. I guess because they're just kind of that mousy gray color that they're sort of underrated. To me, those glowing fangs are just like really exceptional. So I would say that's probably an underrated species. Overrated, I would say none of them, because most of people's favorite species are often the super brilliant, colorful, metallic blues, greens, purples, and that's just awesome. So they deserve that hype.
Been watching you as long as I have snake bites.
That's awesome.
Ellie, do you want to ask your question?
What's your favourite food?
My favorite food?
Yeah.
I love to eat. I super love like salads and fruits, but I'm also like a steak and hamburger girl. So pretty much if you bring me food, I love Indian food, I love Greek food, I love Mexican food, I love Italian food. Ellie, if you come and bring me food, I promise you I will eat it.
And you wouldn't regret it because her food's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm an active woman. I can afford to eat some food.
How many snakes do you keep, Marisa?
Usually we have between 250 and 500 reptiles.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
Awesome.
Depending on the breeding season and things like that.
Nice.
I thought I had a lot. Holy crap.
That is not amazing, that. I think I'd love to visit and just not leave.
Yeah, you should.
That's awesome, that.
Right, I'm going to keep muting myself because of the kids.
A thing I've tried. I've seen some amazing videos on your channel. Do you have a favourite scorpion species?
I would say, I really like Asian forest scorpions. To me, they're just really beautiful. I think people think that they look really scary, but yet they're, handle at your own risk. But to me, they're an animal that I could handle and not worry that it's going to, you know, envenomate me and, you know, it be a fatal envenomation. And so to me, I'd probably have to say, because I've had some tiny scorpions that were super dangerous and they were very cool, but you also think like, oh, if this gets out, somebody might die. And, you know, you have to worry about that a little bit. And I don't know. Well, you probably not because it was a long time ago. A long time ago, I did a Lactrodectus mactans video where I had a black widow and she reproduced. And when I opened the lid, the egg sac had already hatched out, and all like about I don't hundreds of black widow spiderlings just like parachuted out all over my room. And you know, people were having a huge cow. And I said, okay, I'm going to do an experiment. People are very afraid of black widows, and spider bites get blamed for a lot of like random wounds and things like that are often just like infected wounds from something else. And so I said, I'm just going to let all these babies grow up in here, and I would venture to bet nobody's going to be bitten. And so all those black widow spiderlings started growing up in my room, and pretty soon it looked like a Halloween house with like curtains, like cottony, billowy. We couldn't even walk through it. And I was like, and you know what though? They were eating any flies that came in the room, which was great. And finally, I had to actually, I was just taking like armloads of cotton candy. We were removing any web that we could. We waited until the spring and just moving them outside, and they were just multiplying. We finally had to, I'm a little ashamed of this. We had to shop vac some of them because they were like a zillion and a half. But no one was bitten by a black widow. And yeah, that was a bit of a tangent. Anyway, that was my big black widow experiment, and it was really cool.
Sounds awesome, that. Yeah. It's a shame they multiplied everywhere. That's the only downside, really.
Well, and the best part of all was people would say, I'm never coming to your house. And, you know, of course, those were the people that were not invited. So I thought, good deal.
Those are the people we don't want round. I'm not coming round. Right, okay, fine. See ya.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Yeah. Anybody else got any questions?
What have you got planned for the future?
Oh gosh. Well, a lot more book writing. All my children are grown up, and that I loved raising my kids. And my husband and I had 5 children. The baby is now 21. And I have to tell you, I'm loving this new stage of motherhood where it's like, I don't know, just independent adults. And of course, I still do stuff for my kids. And you know, none of them even live where we live except for the very youngest, and he works for us. But I am interested in world travel. It's very difficult to leave our property because there's so much going on here. We have eggs hatching and animals being born, all kinds of stuff going on. My garden's just really getting going. But I do want to at least go to Bali. That's like my dream location. I definitely planning on writing a lot more books if I didn't already say that. I have huge plans to become disgustingly wealthy so I can help everyone that I know. I know so many people. This is right now the world that we're in is kind of scary, and the economic crisis, and I'm contacted by people every day that they're sick or they're losing their home or they can't get healthy food. I mean, so many things that if or when we are very wealthy, I would love to do a lot of things for all the beautiful people in the world that just really need help.
Awesome. Question off Anton. Who was your biggest inspiration for reptiles and the hobby to make you who you are now on or off YouTube?
I could well, definitely not on YouTube, because when I started there was no YouTube, although there are people that I've grown to respect on YouTube as a kind of a veteran keeper for sure, including Brian Barczyk. But this is going to sound like a cheesy cop out, but this is my true answer. My husband, because he really mentored me. He's a little bit older than I am, and he was already keeping venomous very seriously when I met him. And I mean, it was super hot, so hot. I mean, this big, strong guy, and he's like working with cobras. And I was like, okay, I want to do that with you. Let's just, the rest of our lives, let's just breed cobras. And one summer, we reproduced 3 species of cobra in 1 week. We had I mean, so now we have crocodiles and cobras and vipers, and he's taught me so much, and we learn from each other, very much learn from each other. But he taught me all about like herping, where you go out and you find stuff in the wild, and he taught me how to safely collect snakes out of the wild and what to look for and where to go. And so we're kind of desert rats. We go driving out in the desert, go hiking, and collecting animals from the wild, and that's just super romantic and very inspiring. And so definitely my biggest inspiration is him.
So, hang on. So you've got venomous tarantulas, venomous reptiles. Which have you got? All genus or?
No, not all. As far as keeping venomous, we're super duper selective because they take a whole nother level of husbandry. And we have very strict regulations put in place for the methods in which we care for them, the tools that we use. This is not a venomous snake, just so you guys know. This is a gray banded king snake.
King snakes are awesome.
Yeah, so these are native to the area we moved to, which is why we came here. And they are absolutely
beautiful. Yeah, love the colors.
Yes, and they're highly variable. So some of them are this bright gray. Some of them are very dark charcoaly gray. Some of them have really wide white bands. Some of them have, like this one has almost no white banding at all. So they're highly variable. But we're very selective about the venomous that we have because they take so much focus and so much energy that we don't bring anything venomous into our collection unless we are very, very serious about keeping it and reproducing it. We've had lots of things throughout the years, and usually when we buy something, we keep it for the lifespan of the animal, and the only time we sell something is if they reproduce. That's kind of our general rule. Once in a while, we'll sell a part of our collection, but I could definitely, in years, decades, I can count on one hand how many times we've done that. And usually it was to move it along to someone that wanted to work with it more than we did. And so no, we don't have tons of venomous. We've worked with quite a bit of venomous through the years, but it's, I would say, less than 10% of our collection now, not including tarantulas, because of course they're venomous.
Oh,
is that a mastiff?
Yes, an English mastiff. Yes.
Yeah, thought so.
Joe, Kitty's inverse. What are your thoughts in wild caught brought into the hobby? Do you think it's a good or bad thing for the hobby?
Well, the simple answer is that it's good and it's bad. So there's something that some people do that, forgive this term, but I call it raping the wild. There are people that go and over harvest, and they have no consideration for the native populations, the people, or the animals. I think that there are ethical ways to harvest wildlife that are very important to the hobby, because the reality is that first there's 2 things. First of all, the natural environments of many of these species are not being protected. What that means is that long term they will not be able to survive in the wild. And so unless we have populations, large populations in captivity that people already know how to care for and are already successfully reproducing, that animal has the potential to go extinct. Another thing is, if we only reproduce from the pools of animals that we already have, ultimately they're going to wind up with genetic defects due to inbreeding. And so I absolutely believe in collecting from the wild, but I also know that there are ethical and unethical ways to do it. So I'm for it and I'm against it. I think it should be done responsibly.
I agree.
I'm his Web said, how are your goats?
Oh my gosh, my goats. Okay, so I have a small herd of Nigerian pygmy goats. And yes, so I've had 2 pregnant does. And so Daphne had a pair of twin girls. She had 2 little doelings about 6 weeks ago. And okay, when I'm telling you these babies were tiny, my chihuahua was bigger than them. No joke. I have a video showing, and oh my heavens, they have crystal blue eyes, and they are the cutest thing in the world. Except that now my other little girl, Dove, just had her babies on Thursday, and I almost died because they somehow are even cuter. So she had twins. She had a little girl and a little boy, and they're doing great. We're going to go take them to get weighed after this for their first little baby checkup. And they are doing great. The mamas are doing great. And I have one of my miniature horses is getting ready to have her baby. And so, yes, the goats are great.
Good. Anton says, do you know a diamond Celsius from America used to breed snakes and sends him pictures?
Oh, Damon Salceus. No, I don't know him personally, but I do know who he is. He is an artist, an illustrator. He's the one that illustrates all Craig Trumbauer's books. And wow, like hero, Damon Salceus. Yes, I don't know him personally though.
Scott's asking, what's your thoughts around snakes and UVB?
Okay, well, that varies a lot on the species. I think that there are animals that benefit from it that we don't know yet, maybe benefit from it. In general, in my opinion, and according to scientific findings, most snakes do not need UVB. And if you think about it, in the wild, they primarily stay in the darkness. And yes, of course, they come out to bask, but that's a very small percentage of, I think humans need UVB far more than most snakes, but there are thousands of species of snakes. So saying that snakes do or do not need UVB, I mean, that'd be kind of, I mean, I certainly couldn't answer that across the gamut. Most, I don't believe, do need it. But that could be, we're always learning more. Some of them benefit from it more than others. There are snakes that literally never come out of caves in their entire lives, so that would vary depending on the species.
Oh, you know,
I didn't ask for one. Louis told me I'm not allowed to go.
You're not allowed to
No,
come
I
in.
do.
I'm not allowed to go.
Ellie, he had a tegu. If he had a tegu, you can have a goat.
Yeah, but I had to
Here they go, fighting over animals they want.
right, she got a turtle, well, I got a tegu. We have a concrete back garden. What's the goat going to eat?
Yeah.
Oh, baby.
Sorry, one second. We're having an issue.
Then,
Right, has anybody else got any questions?
you find help and make coffee.
Yeah, I only want egg goats. Goats, they taste nice.
So what's the largest snake you've got in your collection then?
I have about 4. I have about between 25 and 40 reticulated pythons, and of those, about 4 of the females are between 16 and 20 feet long. I don't know how much they weigh, but they are
How many reticulated pythons?
25 to 40.
I'm only allowed 3.
Well, take it up with your woman.
I did. That's why I'm only allowed 3.
Well,
your house is tiny.
Yeah, but my snake room isn't.
Yes, it is.
Terry, I'll come over. We'll convert the loft.
Oh, that's so funny.
I have a much bigger house than them, and I still wouldn't keep a retic in my house.
Emma says, do you ever stop and sleep?
on occasion, I do. I actually think that sleep is very important. But when I
Are you here, mate?
I sleep really hard because I'm very
Oh,
busy
Sean.
and I'm very active. So I do rest well. Thank you for asking.
Take care, Scott. I'll see you in the morning, mate.
Anton's put a question in, Mark.
Yeah, what's the next project or goal for you?
Well, I have about 20 goals in progress right now. I would say, so I want to become as self-sustaining as possible. We're on 7 acres and we had solar panels installed last year. We have a water well on our property. I want to be as environmentally conscious as possible. And I want to teach other people about being environmentally conscious. And I want people to understand that I feel like when I was younger, I started to realize what an invasive species human beings are. And now I've realized that that's not necessarily true. That's really mostly true of only people in developed nations, because if you think about the indigenous people that lived on the land for thousands, hundreds of thousands of years without damaging the environment, that's proof that it can be done. And so I feel very passionately about protecting our planet. And it's true that I watch TV and throw things away and do things that everyone else does. I'm not like brushing my teeth with dirt from the garden. And I mean, I don't live an extreme lifestyle, but to me there are also things that we could all do, small things that would help in the long term. And so becoming more self-sustaining is a huge goal, and finishing the books that I'm working on right now is more of a short-term goal. And reproducing as many animals as possible. I'd like to grow my YouTube audience, but that's up to people whether they want to watch or not. So I just make the best videos I can, and if people don't like it,
yeah. Tron's asking, have you ever been to Norway? If so, where?
No, would absolutely love to go to Norway. I have not been outside of the U.S. except to Central America, and I'm not very well traveled. I haven't even been to the eastern coast of the U.S. at all. I've really been on like the west coast and the southwest for the most part. And so I would love to go to Norway. That would be amazing. And I want to go to the BTS show someday.
Emma Jones is asking, her favourite snakes are garters. Do you have them free roaming everywhere?
Well, if they're asking if I have garter snakes free roaming in my house, no, all the animals except for dogs and cats are in an enclosure. But if they're asking if we have native garter snakes where I live, yes, we do. Not a ton of them, but there are native garter snakes here. They're not the prettiest ones in the world, but they're good looking animals.
What do you think about people that like introducing all different genuses of snakes? Because sometimes you find they all mix and match, and it's just like, I don't know. I find there's so many of them out there. It gets really confusing.
Yes, it does get confusing. I find that if you have an interest in a specific species, that it's helpful to learn about that type of snake, like colubrids. If you're interested in milk snakes, learn about colubrids because they have a lot of the same general characteristics, just like you would do with tarantula. Like if I wanted to learn about my tarantulas here, I would probably want to study the genus Aphanopelma. And it can get very confusing. And as you guys know, scientific information changes, scientific names change, and sometimes things that are classified as one species will be split into two species, or they'll say, oh, well, the northern and southern locale are actually the same species, and so now we're calling them the same thing, or things like that. But I wouldn't say that it's any more confusing than learning about tarantulas. So it's equally confusing. But to me, if you have a passion and an interest, you just learn about it.
Cool.
Leah, do you have any questions?
No, I've been a bit distracted, so I don't know what to ask.
We've just been watching the cat give birth.
Yeah, she's just
Oh,
given.
cool.
She's just
How many she had?
one
Just
so
one.
far.
I've had her.
Oh,
Black.
Anton's asking,
Just
do you
pure
keep
black.
and breed green tree pythons?
He's gonna throw it out.
I have had green tree pythons in the past. I don't have any right now. Definitely reproducing them would be a huge goal. I never have reproduced that species.
She's still
They're
moist.
a little more difficult for me to keep because they're very tropical, and where I live is extremely dry. And so that's more of a struggle for me to reproduce. But that's would be like, wow, amazing to reproduce those.
it's only because Anton actually breeds them himself, and he's in Scotland.
Ooh, that's hot. That is super hot.
Yeah, but Anton's brave and a bit of a nutter.
A brave and stupid.
Is there a
Yeah.
difference?
Anton's not brave. He hasn't got a proper snake yet. If it's not over 10 feet long, it's not a proper
I've
snake.
dinners in my life.
Oh dear.
He's braver than I'd be.
I wouldn't keep one. That's for sure.
Mark, he asked me the other day. He goes, would you rather hold this green tree python or stick your hand in with an OBT? I was like, OBT, hands down, every day.
Here's the thing about a green tree, though. Their teeth are so sharp that when they bite you, and they're super fast, you don't even know about it till it's over. Also, they're non-venomous, so like, who cares if they bite you? Really, they'll do it 5 times. You're like, oh, okay.
Lewis put his head in my Nile monitor enclosure,
Oh, that's
so
good.
he's pretty brave. He's going to ask us to be cute. No.
Luke, I am your father's asking, have you collected tarantulas, centipedes, or scorpions in Texas?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. There are some pretty large species. We've got some pretty cool millipedes here too. Interesting story. I found out that millipedes secrete arsenic after collecting about 100 of them and then being closed up in the car for a few hours, and things started to get a little wacky. And yeah, so that's that was an interesting trip. But yes, I have collected.
Hope you're well.
What species of millipede did you collect, do you know?
Oh gosh. I don't know that I remember. They were they're just called golden millipedes. I'm not sure of the scientific name off the top of my head. They were a species that I was collecting around what is that? It's Fort. I can see it in my mind. It's where Judge Roy Bean was from. They have a really weird museum there. You should definitely visit. It's the name of a woman. It'll come to me.
I wanna go to America because I would love to go to Brian Barcheck's Reptarian.
Yeah.
And tell him exactly what he has done for my life. Because if he hadn't actually had his YouTube channel, I wouldn't have kept snakes. I wouldn't keep lizards. I wouldn't go around doing educational shows. I wouldn't be doing that because I was terrified.
Mm.
And I was like, you know what? They look cool and stuff. And then I got into it more. Now they're my favorite animal.
Well, he's in a bad way, but if I see him again, I will let him know from you.
I have sent him a few messages, like just to hope he gets better, but he probably gets thousands, if not millions of them.
Orthoporous ornatus. Orthoporous.
So I was just informed that the golden millipede is what is it?
Orthoporous ornatus.
Orthoporous ornatus from Langtree. That was where we were, where we collected so many millipedes that we started to be poisoned by them through the years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Anton says, what social media do you use? And he'll send us some pictures.
Awesome. I am on TikTok. Hopefully, I don't know if you guys know. The government's trying to ban TikTok in the US, but still I'm on TikTok.
That's weird.
Really?
Yeah.
Facebook, yes.
I don't blame them.
To do with apparently the makers of TikTok are taking everybody's data and sharing it and stuff.
So you can walk around with a gun, but TikTok is bad.
Yeah, and also of course Facebook has sold information to China, but because TikTok is an app based in China, even though all the American data is stored in the US, our legislators are just too afraid of that. But so at least still now I'm on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and also Snapchat, but I don't hardly use Snapchat. But my handle on all of those is Deadly Tarantula Girl, except for my Facebook, which I use my actual name, Marita Laura Becky, but I think also I list the nickname Deadly Tarantula Girl. I think you can still find me there through that. And Mark and I are friends, so just look for me there.
Well, Mark's friends with all the cool people.
Well, obviously. I mean, look at us. Hello.
Yeah, she's doing it. She's dealing with it. Good girl. Sorry. The kitten came out backwards, so we had to give a bit of a hand. It got stuck.
Mark,
Right.
Mark is actually the reason that I have reticulated
Thank
pythons. He gave me my first one. Him and a guy named Peter Webster. They gave me my first reticulated python. And actually, I absolutely love him. He's so soft. He wouldn't harm a fly. He's really good with kids.
He'd eat me, though.
You what?
He would eat me, though.
Ellie, a lot of people would eat you, dear.
Mark would.
It's all that nice spicy food you eat. You must taste very yummy.
You see, it wouldn't hurt a fly, but it takes rabbits down easy enough.
Yeah, but he doesn't strike. He won't even strike at them. You have to put them in the enclosure and you have to close the door. He won't even strike.
So gentle.
He's so gentle. Whereas the other two are not as gentle.
Can I just give everyone a warning? If you're going to help a cat give birth, wear something that she can't scratch you through.
Yes.
I'm bleeding everywhere.
Oh, wow.
That advice goes if you're bathing a cat as well.
Yeah, that does.
Yeah, that's
or
good
if you
advice.
pick a Nile monitor up without gloves on. That's not a good idea.
That's what I was thinking. That's what I've got. Almost all my scars are from monitors. Yeah.
Do you have a Nile?
I have a few Niles and Asian water monitors and Savannah monitor as well.
Have you had yours from babies?
Oh gosh. The ones I have now I raised from about 8 inches. I have raised babies.
Well, I got an adult. Well, not an adult, sort of semi-adult. She was about 3 feet long. And the people hadn't worked with her at all. Hadn't handled her. I went into the shop and the guy said, if you can get her out of the enclosure without her escaping or biting you, you can have her for free. I don't want her in the shop.
Yeah.
She terrifies me. So I literally went in, picked her up, put her in a box and took her home. But it's taken me about 6 months to be able to actually work with her or interact with her or even pick her up because she would just try and kill me.
Yeah.
But now I can pick her up.
Yeah, Niles can be crazy. It's good that you're working with her because, of course, they're just going to grow and grow. And, their nails are pretty serious. Their teeth, their tails are all
She's
weapons of destruction.
Oh, yes.
she's an ornate Nile, so she won't get quite as big.
Mm.
But like over here, we can't get things that you can get in the US. Like we can't get Asian water monitors, we can't get black throats, we can't get white throats. You don't really see Nile monitors that often, unless they come in wild caught, which is always a problem.
Right.
Even our savannah monitors, we know they're all farms. You know, they're all captive. Wild caught. Which is a bit of an issue. I'd love a black throat monitor, but we just can't get them over here. That would be my dream. A really nice big black throat monitor.
Yeah, I like croc monitors too.
I'm not that brave.
Oh, you want to just?
Yeah.
Oh. So you're about to meet one of my Nile monitors, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so little.
Yeah, this one's maybe 2.5 feet long?
I'd say 30
Aw.
36 inches,
They have
maybe.
a long tail, which you would be with.
Just like being picked up.
I need like a 30-second break. I'll be right back.
No problem.
Oh, Steve said he's packed up some black beauties for you.
Thank you, Steve. I
Leah,
love you, Steve.
Yeah.
Kathy wants to know what colour the kitten is. The kitten.
It's all black. Like her mum. I can't see if it's a boy or a girl yet. I go wait for her to deal with the placenta.
Oh, nice one, Anton. Thank you.
Oh, Anton's all like starstruck and in love. Bless him.
Oh.
Appreciate that, Anton.
Like, can you
Has she had any more yet, or is it just still the first?
She's
Just-
still
just
dealing
the
with this one.
It came out the wrong way. It came out feet first.
Yeah, she's a bit confused. Yeah. But it's a really big kitten as well, so poor thing.
Oh.
The other cat, she had a really big kitten as well.
Welcome back, Marita.
Must be the water.
Yes. That's a fun fact about me. I have a very small bladder. If you ever see me on a live, if I make it to an hour, that's good.
Yeah, but I suppose you're drinking quite a lot of water, so it's going to go through your system quite a lot, though, isn't it?
I'm a big water drinker, but yeah.
What are you showing us, Ellie?
It's not me, it's Lewis. He's showing off his Balfours as always.
So,
it's Balfour, it's good.
Have you actually got any Nile monitors that are super duper tame, or are they always slightly flighty?
Okay, all the ones I've gotten have been totally psycho, and they're because I've never used a Nile as an educational animal, and my ultimate goal is to reproduce them. I don't work with them really to become like a pet or necessarily handleable. They usually settle down some, especially as they get bigger, they relax a little more. And if you think about it, in the wild, the way they survive is ultimately by running away or by threatening with posture. And then if they have to, if the predator or us continues to provoke them, they bite, they scratch, they whip. But as they get larger, they tend to settle down just naturally. But of course, if you just have a few animals, you have a small collection. I would highly recommend. Okay, I would highly recommend working with them on a regular basis, so they settle down and get to know you.
Oh, I work with her every day. It's just like I've never had one before. I had a Savannah monitor, but obviously that's so easy to get a Savannah monitor tame.
Right.
Savannah is like a puppy compared to that. I'm hoping to use her as an educational tool. I took her for a first walk on the harness today, and for the first 5 minutes, she was very wary. But then she just literally walked right next to me. I can pick her up. It's basically once she's out, she's okay. It's just while she's in her enclosure, she's a little bit touchy.
Yeah, that's where it starts to get a bit.
That's where it starts to get a bit wrong. Yeah, when she's in her enclosure. Once she's out of her enclosure, she's fine. Unless
That'd be a territory issue, though, wouldn't it? Because she's guarding her area.
Well, anything that's red, Jack. If she sees anything red, it goes in her mouth. Anything red. She will.
Including the lid of my bottle that I was drinking out
Anything.
of. I decided to crack it.
The turtle does now with everything green.
It's food.
He was
Yum.
trying to eat the squirter handle earlier after the amount of times I told him and removed it that it wasn't food. He still went back and used it. Bearing in mind, the handle's like this big and the turtle's head's like this big.
It's almost as if the turtle doesn't understand English.
I know. Funny that, isn't it, Lewis?
He had fun on his little shopping trip to the greenhouse.
I
That
saw
was
the
cute.
video. That was funny.
Oh, sugar.
She literally took him to the greenhouse and was like, would you want some of that plant today? Or do you want some of that plant today? And let him choose his plant.
I'll tell you what, though, he absolutely demolished it.
It didn't take long.
That's awesome.
Oh.
Hi, Phil.
Right, Phil.
Hello,
Phil
Phil.
on.
Hello, Phil.
You should get Phil on.
I've sent him the link.
Phil,
Um,
Phil actually lives in the zoo.
And Phil-
Phil's a zookeeper, Marita,
Oh
and
wow.
he actually lives in the zoo grounds.
Ooh, that's awesome.
All I'm going to say is, Phil, if you come on, we do not want any animals. We want you.
But he is very mean though, Mark, because he still won't let me go and cuddle a tiger. I've asked him to cuddle a tiger. I've been
Are
there
you
when there's
okay,
nobody else
medic?
there. It won't let me.
You
Yeah, I'm
that?
still waiting for red pandas.
No, they're red
Oh, we had a
pandas
red
abroad,
panda. It was
aren't
fine, though.
they? There's a question again from Anton, Mark.
Okay.
If you could meet someone in the hobby, who would you like to meet?
Well, I've met I've met a lot of people. Probably the craziest person I've ever met at a show was Joe Exotic.
Oh, no way.
The Tiger King. He was a huge character. He's definitely not my choice. I actually did meet him, and okay, that was strange. But that's a really hard choice because there's so many amazing people. There's actually let's see, gosh, that's a really hard choice. There's actually a very obscure researcher who I have been in contact with online for a long time who refuses to be named. He never wants me to talk about him publicly because he does not want to be in the public eye. But he's a man who has traveled the world and studied tarantulas in Africa and in India and written all these amazing informational texts on their natural habitats to help us learn, what their needs would be in captivity. So he who shall not be named. If he's listening, he definitely knows who I'm talking about. But so an obscure researcher that no one's ever heard of, who I can't name. That's who I would want to be.
There's nothing wrong with being anonymous. At the end of the day, if he doesn't want it, he doesn't want it. Don't blame him. Sometimes you can take over your life, and you just feel like you've got no privacy. So it'd be quite understandable, really.
And also Philippe de Vaucherly, definitely.
I think I'd like to meet that guy Kevin McCurley from Nerd.
Yeah.
I would love to have a conversation with him.
Oh, Kevin McCurley. He is a very talented guy, isn't he?
He's an amazing man.
He has a way with animals. He's not so people friendly, but
Don't blame him.
Kevin's a spaz, but ultimately he is interested in the well-being of animals, so I consider him an ally for sure.
Now, I don't know if Tron's already asked this question.
Let's see. I'm not sure what he's asking. Is there an episode you wish you
An episode incident which you could go without regarding your invert hobby. You'll have to reword that again, Tron, please. It doesn't seem quite.
I'm not sure what you're asking.
Yeah.
Thank you, UK medic.
So there, of all the venomous keeping in the years that we've done, the one envenomation we've had in our crew. Well, I mean, we've had some Gila monster bites and tarantula bites, but because that's not dangerous, I don't really consider that. My one day in December, we were building a new snake rack, and
Hi, Phil.
my husband went to get a piece of lumber out of a wood pile, and he got bitten by a western diamondback rattlesnake in December.
Oh,
And
sugar.
he actually got envenomated, and we used our emergency kit and went to the hospital, and he had to be life flighted out of state. And it was a huge, is he going to die? Is he going to lose his arm? All this stuff. But the truth is, we actually used a compression device that was invented by a toxicologist, and it worked so well that all the doctors and students who were in the hospital actually came to observe him, because we were the first human trial for the block compression device, and it worked, fortunately. And so that
Good.
was a very interesting 24 hours. I don't know how many years ago that was. Oh yeah. So he got bitten there on his hand, and he doesn't even have any scar tissue, which, if you know about rattlesnake venom, it's necrotic, which means most people that have been bitten by western diamondbacks with Crotalus atrox wind up with nasty, ugly scars. And he was essentially totally recovered from it very quickly. So that was an interesting day.
That's pretty awesome, that.
Yeah, so that was an accident that occurred that turned out pretty well.
Hang on a minute. Is those your crickets going off, Phil?
No, of course it is.
Mine have all shut up. They're probably listening to your crickets.
Anybody else got any questions?
You want to think of something?
Bill, you got any questions?
How you all doing? Is everyone all right?
Rita, would you eat crickets for a living?
Eat them for a living.
Yeah, steak or protein.
Yeah, that would depend on the salary.
Yeah, that's how I took it, for a living. Which means for a sustainable diet.
Yeah,
they're very nutritious, but not very delicious, because I've eaten a cricket and I didn't like it very much. But if the money was right, sure. Yeah.
I mean, if you add them to other ingredients.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, you could do all kinds of things. You could top your salad with them. You could fry them. There's all kinds of delicious ways you can eat crickets. I'm sure of it. I'm a really good cook. So if I had to add crickets to my diet to be on a salary of $1 million a year, absolutely I would. But I wouldn't do it for like $1 a week. I mean, there's other things I could do for $1 a week that are yummier than eating crickets.
So, Matt's put that in for Trond. Is there an incident or accident you wish you could go without?
Yeah, the rattlesnake bite for sure. So somebody's asking about my dream species.
Yeah, that's Anton.
Yeah, so I'm trying to get into the ostrich.
Hi, Jeff.
I've just kicked you off this one.
Ostrich, that'd be cool.
So you'd have an ostrich farm?
No, but I just went and visited one, and I definitely want to get involved in the ostrich universe. So we'll see. But like no holds barred, I would want Komodo dragons. It sounds like kind of a cop out, but they're really neat. So yeah.
Yeah, they're a bit huge and a bit dangerous and a bit venomous.
That's debatable, yeah.
Was it like narcosis in their saliva or something like that?
Well, scientists haven't decided definitively whether their mouths are just so riddled with bacteria that they always pretty much always cause infection, or if they're venomous. I mean, scientists are trying to even say they think even green
They're-
iguanas are venomous.
They've got both because they've got venom glands. The glands have been, the glands got found a few years ago, but they
Ooh.
still people argue it.
That's cool. I
Um,
mean, I definitely would avoid being bitten by them if possible, for sure.
Yeah, the mechanical damage is you're gonna be more worried about that.
Right.
Probably.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah, there's no possibility of getting a Komodo dragon because, well, I shouldn't say no possibility. Let me say this. Every single Komodo dragon in the world is still owned by the island of Komodo. And even if you see them in a zoo in any country, they all belong to Komodo. Even if those dragons reproduce in like, I don't know, whatever zoo, even the offspring still belong to the island of Komodo. And they're very touchy about who they loan out their lizards to. And I'm just not quite at that level. And so I would love to have a Komodo dragon. Monitors aren't my absolute main focus. And so that's not something like I wouldn't want to devote 100% of my focus on getting a Komodo dragon, but it would be cool. It'd be really cool.
Do you have any ostriches at the moment, Marita?
I don't have any ostrich, although I'm working out a deal with an ostrich farm right now to try to start hatching out my own eggs. So we'll see.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen a YouTuber the other day. I think what's he called now? Tyler Nolan, and I'm sure he's meant to be hatching out some ostrich eggs.
Oh, cool.
Looking pretty cool. People seem to be getting more into birds recently. I've noticed, even though they've got a variety of, well known for snakes and alligators, crocodiles, Cuban crocodiles, and you see them getting like chickens and ducks, and it's like, wow. And then they're getting obviously an ostrich, and it's like completely different, but still awesome at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any big YouTubers you do breeding projects with?
So pretty much anybody that contacts me that is within the lower 48 states, if they have a partner to one of my animals, I usually will do a breeding project with them. I mean, I don't know if there's anyone real big on YouTube that I don't know. I'm not friends with a lot of YouTubers. I don't know if I'm not liked or just maybe I don't watch enough YouTube. I don't know. But I tend to just kind of be friends with like whoever makes friends with me. And so I would say pretty much I do breeding loans with just whoever. Oh yeah. So here is the ostrich egg I came home with from the farm.
It's unbelievable how huge they are.
Yeah, they're really big. So this one already was hatched out before I ever got there. But
that's so cool.
Yeah, she didn't have any fertile eggs to send home with me yet, but this was really neat. I got to collect an egg from the nest and play with some ostrich and stuff. Only one tried to kill me, so that was really good experience.
Well, that's always a positive when it's only one.
Yeah, only one. Yeah, so that was good.
That is one big egg.
It'll go nice on a slice of toast, though, right, man?
Oh yeah.
You should need a loaf.
They said that to hard boil one ostrich eggs takes 3 hours.
How long?
Yeah, to hard boil one so you can eat it, like a hard boiled egg.
Oh wow.
3 hours. Good grief.
So I don't know. That'd be kind of weird. But we We eat chicken eggs and duck eggs and goose eggs here, and they're all a little bit different. My peahens have only laid 2 eggs so far, but they're actually free ranging now. And so I'm fully hoping that one of my hens will have a secret nest of eggs soon and hatch out her own little pea chicks, and that then we'll have little baby peafowl on our farm.
Oh,
Anton says, is it true their eggs are very expensive? I
Yes,
think I read that somewhere.
that
Yeah.
is true. Oh, so this is something I just hatched out for the first time.
Oh,
little baby. Oh, that's cute.
Yeah,
hello,
little goose.
Goslin.
Yeah,
Oh, it's so cute.
thank you.
Oh.
That's
Oh.
cool.
Sorry, but I just had to sit and
Ellie,
talk
it's
all
not
day.
dinner.
You'd have to.
Leah, I
Yeah.
told you millions of times, fresh food is the best food.
No, you do not eat
Warning
little
you, Ellie.
ducky. The ducky's too cute.
It will grow.
Yeah? Then you cuddle the big duck. Great.
No. You have a smaller.
I had quail, and everybody wanted to roast my quail. They wanted to
Aw.
eat it,
I just
especially that one over there at the top.
I just ordered some button quail eggs, so I'm getting into quail
Oh.
too. The button quail are really tiny. Yeah,
They're
I'm
very
excited.
cute. I gotta get some button quail eggs, but I don't need the fertilizer to my
Why?
eggs.
I'll tickle you.
I was making you play.
I don't.
Monica, I'm going to ask you an horrible question. Do you ever eat any of the birds that you raise?
That's a really good question. I am absolutely for farming and homesteading and killing the animals that you raise. In fact, I think it's better than buying from the grocery store. However, we have not yet. So far, the animals that have died on our property, like rabbits, goats, pigs, ducks, have all been fed to pythons. And because our pythons need food and I am not quite ready to eat my animals that I've raised, I haven't yet, but that's, I said that we want to be as self-sustaining as possible, and that's kind of the ultimate plan, but I haven't eaten anything I've raised yet.
Yeah, I feel a bit awkward doing that. So obviously, if you give it to your other animals, you're keeping them
And that's
alive.
hard enough. That's hard enough. But like,
Yeah.
if I have a rabbit that dies or something, it's either like bury it or feed it to a snake. Now, I would never feed one of my dogs or cats to a snake. That's just like my personal.
No, that's just wrong. They're just they're domesticated animals.
Right. Yeah.
Emma's asking, do you have any alpacas?
I don't have any llamas. I've seen too many naughty llamas that I don't really want to. They get out a lot and they spit in people's faces, and that's just not really like my idea of a good time. So no llamas. Yeah.
Emma was feeding her Chinese.
Oh, God.
When do you like Emma?
My cat was next door eating my neighbour's Chinese.
I have a whole zoo
As
of
you do.
food. I'd even open my own kitchen just to cook the food I grow.
I actually think that there's not enough female YouTubers that are into tarantula. I mean, there is some, but I think there should be a little bit more. And it's obviously
It's definitely more male dominated.
I know. I mean, yeah, fair enough. I know Leah does hers, and there's a few others, but I think there's sometimes should be more. I know there's Tarantula Cat. She does her tarantulas as well, but I know it seems to be unheard that more females are not doing it. It's more.
When I first started, the only tarantula channels that I could find were Rob C, Tarantula Guy 76, and oh gosh, I'm having a brain fart. The guy in Canada, John Sosiak. What does he go by?
John.
I can't think of his handle, but There were only 2 tarantula channels at all. And so when I came on, people thought it was super duper weird. Yeah, I love sugar gliders too. I miss all my sugar gliders. And I
Yeah.
have reproduced sugar gliders too. But I'm very excited about reproducing wallabies. My wallabies should
Wow.
be having babies by next year. So that'll be really exciting.
Oh, it's
wow.
I've got wallabies. That's cool.
What species wallaby?
John 3800. Yeah. Well, okay, that was me, I guess. That was okay.
Hi, Max.
My moderator.
Anton said, who is your favourite animal YouTuber?
Okay, everybody that's here on the screen, guess. Take one guess, and then I'll tell you the truth.
Me?
Yeah, and each one of you guess that are on the screen.
Mark's guessed himself.
Yeah, me.
Oh, it's got to be Mark.
Okay,
Mark's just
okay.
You're a nutter.
Sure, he is the best.
Brian
Oh,
Bartlett.
Good night, Craig. Take care, mate.
All right. Dun, 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 dun.
Oh, God.
Mark the spider guy.
Yay!
Hey,
I
Max,
am loved.
Wallabies. Yeah, wallabies.
everyone knows you, Mark. We all love you. Even if you do try and run us over.
Yeah, the wallabies are adorable. They're a handful though.
I was about to say Mark's like everyone's daddy, but then I just thought I better not say that, and now I'm
That's
just
just
saying
so
it.
wrong.
He's not even old enough to be my dad, so what the fudge? That would be just wrong.
Phil has the coolest animals. Phil's next door neighbour is a porcupine.
So,
Wow. I just love all sorts of animals. I just haven't got a house big enough.
I haven't got a house big enough, but I make room.
Oh, there we go.
As soon as I
We
get,
just give up our living space. We don't have much space to ourselves
as
anymore.
soon as I get rid of the children, I'm going to have even more. As soon as I get rid of the children, I'm having a rhino iguana.
that they are cute as well.
Carmen.
Well, my children are all out, thank God.
I want Carmen. She's
You're not
lovely.
nicking Carmen.
No, I want the one that was in that horrible pet shop where we rescued those retics from the other week. I want
Yeah,
that rhino
yeah, make that
iguana
Yeah, rescue that one.
Yes.
because I want to put it on actual heat and give it actual proper enclosure.
Give it some light.
Give it some UV light would be quite nice.
Oh,
Somebody
Did I tell you,
Take care,
Phil?
mate.
Bye, Matt.
Did I tell you, Phil? Now I've put that female reticulated python. She's got the proper temperatures and the proper space. She is so grumpy.
It's been a
She
ridiculous.
is so nasty.
Yeah, she's been a ridiculous.
yeah, but you're not really out of that long, so you don't know how she was treated in that pet shop, though, do you? So
I was sat stroking her.
No, let's have a look.
I'll rewind it back.
They're both in shed, by the way.
ah,
I was just about to say, who's that behind you,
That's
Terry?
true.
It's the back of your head.
the one at the front.
Yeah, the one at the front's the girl, and the one at the back is the boy. And that is how they chose to sit. So they've got loads of space in there, but we're going to be putting a lot more big branches and stuff in there for them because they love being arboreal.
I was literally sat there the other day with that female retic. She was sat in front of me, laid in front of me. I was stroking her all over, telling her how she was the most beautiful snake in the world and how she'd never ever bite anybody and how she was so well behaved and how she was lovely and stroking her on the head. And then she turned around and decided she was going to try and take my head clean off of my body. I have never moved so fast in my whole life.
If anybody wants an update on the sail fin, it's
Yeah,
now
I
named Lucky, and it's still going through the course of antibiotics. It's starting to put on weight, and it's already, if it gets to, what do you say, a kilo?
About a kilo, yeah.
Yeah, once it gets to about a kilo, it'll be going in with another girl, so it won't be lonely in a nice big tank.
Oh,
Cool.
Going in with Dina.
I want to go down and see it. I haven't
Yeah,
actually seen them yet.
just to fill in, Rita, we had We rescued the 2 reticulated pythons from a really bad shop.
They were going to be
they were going to be killed.
euthanized. So
no, euthanized too nice of a word.
yeah, you killed.
And basically there was sailfin lizards there, and we delivered them, the sailfins, to another rescue. And when they got there, their male was dead. It passed away on the transport, and they were both extremely emaciated, and both had like smashed up faces, and there was a lot of stuff wrong with them. So the male died, and the female's now, Ellie just gave an update, now called Lucky.
Ah.
Oh, and the reticulated pythons that we got, the male had RI. I've completely got rid of his RI. They have nothing else wrong with them as far as I could see.
But they're still in quarantine.
They're still in quarantine.
5 and a bit months.
Obviously, the female one, I haven't been able to handle her to give her a full body check because she doesn't like me, and that's fine. We'll work on that. But the male is absolutely lovely. He's super duper tame. Even though he's in shed, I can still sort of work with him. He's fine.
Wow, that's great. Yeah, definitely get them more socialized if you plan on keeping them, when they get very large, because retics can be very dangerous. I had a scary incident with one when we were moving, but I wanted to answer Anton's question about the chondros and the boas and all that business. I personally do not hybridize animals in my collection. I believe that people should be able to do pretty much what they want to do if they're not hurting anyone or anything. But also, too, I believe that because their environment is threatened, that we also have a responsibility to keep viable species, viable groups of both emerald tree boas and chondro pythons pure, and those animals, all those tropical pythons and boas, because I think ultimately conservation is going to be the only thing that protects them in the future. And often when you begin hybridizing, the offspring is often defective. Either they're sterile or they have issues that cause sudden death many times. And so I personally do not hybridize animals, but I also am not completely against it. I think if Joe Blow down the street really wants to interbreed his snakes, that's his prerogative, and I'm not going to, just because I have my preference, I'm not going to lord it over him and say, oh, I don't want to, so no one can. So I'm not a fan of hybridization, but I also too don't think it should be illegal or something like that.
Night, Diana.
Night, Diana. Take care.
Bye, Diana.
Ellie
Yeah.
and Leah.
Mm-hmm.
I can do Wednesday or Saturday for coming down. I've got to bring your enclosure, Ellie, because there won't be no room to put it in the car. We're picking Scott up and that.
Okay, we're busy on Saturday.
Oh, fuck Scott. The enclosure's more important than that, Ginger.
Yeah, don't worry about Scott. But yeah, we're busy on Saturday. Wednesday, we're free on. I think so. We're free on Wednesday. Yeah. I don't know.
Leah, can you do Wednesday?
Terry's working. I can't do nothing Wednesday.
I don't finish till 6.
Well, we'll sort it out so we can do it when you two can.
Well, Mark, if you want to just go to Ellie's, it's not a problem. Like, I'll just see you again another time.
Or we can just come to your house and I'll eat all your biscuits.
Yeah, Mark doesn't come to mine for biscuits. Mark comes to mine for tiramisu.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
I do.
Well, do you guys have any more questions for me?
Yeah, Marita, do you have spider shows over there that are just for inverts and that?
Not a lot. They're pretty few and far between for the most part. If there's a reptile expo, there will usually be a vendor or two that also has some kind of inverts. but
Yeah.
there aren't really any major bug shows, not like the BTS or anything like that. So I imagine that there are little towns out there that I don't know about that are doing it. But in general, no. Like I said, you have to find them at the reptile shows, which, you know, is cool because I like them both. But
Right, Steve.
the invert hobby is definitely way bigger where you guys are. Thank you for coming on, Steve. Appreciate it.
I
See
have
you
a
tomorrow,
question.
Steve.
Is there any chance you might ever come over to the UK for one of our shows?
Yes, I would love to. Like I said, it's really hard for me to get away because of everything that
Yeah.
I take care of here. But yeah, going to a BTS show and meeting all of you guys, that would be like, wow, goals, dream come true.
Oh, you'd be amazed at the price difference. You just walk around, that's so cheap. That is so
I
cheap.
know. I'd want to like buy everything and smuggle it home. But
Yeah.
Yeah. Another
bummer.
question off Anton.
Yes. Okay. So if I could only keep one inverts or reptiles, what would it be? Where's your first love at? That's really hard to say because I love all of them so much because they're so unique and so amazing and so beautiful and so different. To me, I can learn so much from animals. If I could only keep reptiles or invertebrates, I think I'd have to go with invertebrates because I mean they're just so like alien and awesome. When you see them breathe, you're like, oh, it's so crazy.
Hi, Sharon.
It's just so different. I would probably have to go with inverts.
Oh, Leah, guess what? I lost all my mantises
What?
to my daughter.
Oh, she stole them.
Yeah.
I thought you meant they died then, Ellie.
Marita, Emma's asking, have you been to Fearnot since they opened their shop?
I have not. I'm not even sure where they're located. Wait. Where are they located?
I don't know. It's up near Tarantula Collective, isn't it? Where's he from?
Because I need to do leaflet as well.
I don't think I've been there. The place I'm thinking of is in California, and I can't remember what it was called, but I don't think I've been to Fear Not.
I'll have a look.
It's kind of embarrassing how little I travel because I have so much going on here. So no, probably not. I've been to Cape Fear, but no, not Fear Not.
Have you ever met Richard, Tarantula Collective?
Virginia.
No. Is he? Oh, they're in Virginia. Yeah, no, I haven't been there. No, I have never met Richard. Is he in the U.S.?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure. I know who he is. But I've just seen him online. I've never met him in person. Most of the people I know are like old school people that nobody even knows about.
Oh, people like Tom Ram and all that.
Michael Taylor's asking, is there an invert that creeps you out or you're scared of?
No, really. I don't love being bitten by centipedes. So that's like, they don't creep me out. I think they're awesome.
Well, you've been bit by a centipede? No way. I just don't like them.
I mean,
neither does Mark, do you?
Mark loves it.
I'd never hurt one. I used to feed Peter Webster's, and
That's your friend.
But I'd never hurt one.
Wouldn't own one.
I wouldn't own one. Wouldn't hurt one. You know.
It's just not your thing, Mark, is it?
Oh, my other half wants to know: are those contacts or actual colour of your eyes?
I usually do wear contacts or glasses. Yeah.
So you're actually wearing coloured contact lenses, or it's just contact? Yeah. Fair enough.
Right, my other half wants to know: what toothpaste do you use for the dog? Because its teeth are awfully white.
Milk Bones. I don't know. He's actually already 6 years old. So yeah, I think my dogs are just healthy dogs. They don't get a lot of like goodies and treats and stuff like that. So
Good.
maybe definitely no like fast food, or we don't even have any fast food restaurants here. So clean eating. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, Ellie, no Mackies.
Huh?
Nothing.
She's away with the fairies, that one.
Yeah. No, there was a spider on the table.
And
What?
I've
Wait,
got
wait.
120 odd tarantulas, and she's scared of a little tiny house spider this big.
really?
Oh yeah, she's terrified.
She's scared of boas too. I don't know why
I'm
she's
not
scared of
scared of
boas.
them, but they just make me.
No.
I love how she's trying to be like, I'm brave. I'm not scared of them.
You can say.
I just run away every time I see one and freak out.
She's like, babe, there's one there, get it.
Or Lewis, when you have my reticulated python, it's going to eat you. It's going to eat you. Look at the way it's looking at you. It's going to try and eat you. No, it's really not.
I'm going to close the stream at 10 o'clock, guys, because I've got to be up at 3:30.
3:30.
Yeah.
Why are you getting up at 3:30? What are you doing that's so important tomorrow?
I got 5 people to pick up.
Oh wow.
No,
Why?
you 4 people and Alan.
Yeah, because Carly's are her aunties. Then I've got to pick Nathan up. Then I've got to pick Alan up. Then I've got to pick Scott up. So, yeah.
Bloody hell, Mark.
I only gotta cook a roasted dinner.
We got to
Right.
pick that go Katie up on the way through Birmingham.
Yeah.
I'm
What
going to
time
see
is it?
give me a lift up.
We're leaving at 7:30.
Did you sort any egg crates out, Phil?
I've got a pile of them.
Brilliant. Good.
So if I remember them, they're in my porchway. So
Phil, before I leave, do you need any privet?
probably, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, bring me some. I'll take some. The stuff is literally only now just starting to bud.
Okie dokie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they got that
Ours
back.
hasn't stopped budding all winter.
Marita, it's been awesome having you on.
Thank you so much for having
I
me. It was a lot of
really
fun.
appreciate it.
It was really nice to meet you.
You too. Nice to meet
Welcome
you guys.
to the crazy gang, by the way.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
There's nothing wrong with it. It's cool. It's actually a crazy cool gang.
I like that.
Can you just deal with it instead of licking at you?
That's what
I think
driving the bus.
Matt and Craig and a couple of others have all been putting your link in.
Oh, awesome. Thank you guys so much.
So hopefully we might get a few more.
Let me show you my books. They're here in the bookshelf. Hold on.
Cool. A lovely home.
Who's growling? We'll tell her off because it's freaking her out.
Okay, so this is my book, The Infinidon. It won a big award. Everybody buy it. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And this is Urus, the mermaid book.
Horus.
Yeah.
Is that named after the Eye of Horus?
No. So it's not Horus. It's Urus because
Horus.
their planet is shaped like an hourglass.
Ah,
Yeah.
pretty.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love the artwork on the front.
Yeah, because then you got the shape of like, was it a dragon wing?
Yes. Oh well, that's a mermaid tail. Spoiler alert.
Ah, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It's there.
Yeah, there's their little world.
All
Yeah.
right, Susan's ordered it.
Yay.
Are they on Audible?
No. Not yet. I will get audio versions done, but right now I just have print and digital. So they're on Kindle, or you can order the paperbacks. But I do want to get an audio version this year.
Oh, that'd be amazing. So I definitely get it on Audible because I don't get a chance to sit with a book and read, but I do. I listen to books while I'm working.
I do that a lot
Good
too.
night, Joe. Take care. Joe's off.
Night. Night, Kitty.
Hi, Benji.
I just like to say that I think Mark did a fantastic job tonight. I think he was really, really good.
Yeah, he did, actually.
No, it's all down to Marita.
I will, Kathy. It's the only one.
Didn't you say you lived in Texas, don't you?
Mm-hmm. I do
That's
now,
got to be
yes.
an amazing area of all the creatures you've got there. I'd love to go around in a bit, look around.
It's really beautiful here. Yes, that's why we came here. We're on 7 acres, and it's just like wild. You come outside, you see the sun, the plateau, the stars. I have trees. It's heaven.
Ooh, shall I cut up?
I'm coming to live with you.
Yeah, do.
Pretty much the size of the zoo that I live in.
Yeah,
With 8 acres. So.
It's so like if I go outside, I wake up and I can go out into my garden, clothes or no clothes. Nobody knows the difference.
No,
So what
Catherine,
are you actually in an
it's
actual
becoming a
isolated
challenge.
area?
Yes, everything. There's no people around us. It's just like if you go on my social accounts, you can see like pictures of like the sky, the plateau. That's like from my house. Yeah. Yeah.
That sounds like my ideal place to live. Nobody around you.
It's so wonderful. When I
Oh
go
yeah, that'd be awesome.
all I hear are animals, birds, trees. You don't hear, you can see the stars. Oh my gosh, you can see the stars.
So at least you're not in a polluted area, and that's the best thing you want to do. You want to see the stars and everything.
Yeah, we can see it from up the mountain. We can't see it from our street, but if we got the mountains literally were there, we just drive up to the top of the mountains, like less than a minute's drive, and you can see all the stars up there. But down by here, because the lights.
Thank you, friend. Appreciate that.
We can see the stars from my house, and that's surprising because I live between a motorway and a bypass.
Oh wow, yeah.
And near the city.
And then, as me and Leah learned last weekend, you got a nice lot of turtle species in Texas as well.
Yes, we do have a lot of beautiful wildlife here.
So at the conference we was at last weekend, we had a talk by Texas turtles.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It was really good, and he was talking about all the different types of snapping turtle and stuff. Well, the 2 different types of snapping turtle that he was finding and things like that. It was brilliant.
That's awesome. I do have a big common snapping turtle and a big alligator snapping turtle too.
Oh, nice. I'm definitely. Let me actually go on now and give you a sub because I don't think I have.
Oh, awesome. And if any of you find me on social media, just like private message me and be like, hey, it's so-and-so, and I'll accept you. I mean, I try to accept everybody, but I have people waiting. So you guys can go to the top if you want.
Oh, that's cool then.
Okay, I have to now. I don't have it. I have the link.
So if you're not subscribed to Marita, go and check her channel out. Give her a subscription. She's awesome. She's well worth it.
Thank you.
Oh, you got 57k subscribers and 1.1k videos. Good grief, that's loads.
I've been at it since 2012, I think, on YouTube.
Hey,
That's
Thomas.
That's awesome, that.
Hey, Thomas.
Right, I'm sharing the hell out of this into the chat, right? It's probably going to ban me from writing now, but...
Watch here if she goes. I'm going to put it in.
Phil, is that enough? Is that enough, Phil?
Yeah, that'll be plenty. Cheers.
Right, you didn't grab the entire bush.
Put that over top of my drink.
Yeah, I know there's all sorts of bugs on them.
There's a bit of herbish for you. Add flavour.
Oh, don't. Not that. It's like literally every time that something comes off that hedge, there's always those little green, I think they're like a sawfly larvae. That's the only thing I can think of.
Extra protein.
Ugh.
So everybody in chat, don't forget, Marita's on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok as well. Any others, Marita?
Let's see. Oh, YouTube, obviously. I'm sending you, Mark. I'm Facebook messaging you the links to my book, so you can post those too if you want.
Yeah. Hold on. Get my phone turned on. Ellie, how'd you turn this
Oh.
phone on?
You push the on button.
Which
Oh my
side?
days. So,
Oh, I've got it.
This side.
Sorry, it's coming on.
oh yeah, because you've got it advertised on your channel as well. But
So Anton is asking about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So of course that is a true story, and that did occur not too far from here.
again,
And so when we first found this property, we needed several different things, and we needed a big house because we were moving all of our animals into the house temporarily. We needed property. There was a bunch of requirements that we needed, and I wanted trees, and we needed some land and some barns. And anyway, this house fit the bill, but it was like an old farmhouse, and it was kind of abandoned. And the important things were new, like it had an HVAC installed, and like the roof was new, but a woman had lived here who built the house in the 1940s, and it was very outdated and kind of spooky, and it's way out in the middle of nowhere. And the name of the road, there's no street sign or anything. It's on 101 Slaughter Road. Slaughter, like serial killer. And so basically all my kids said, I'm never going to visit you at your new house. And then I made it into like this cute little homestead, and now they think it's awesome. But yeah, they thought it was a little like hillbilly serial killer at first, but now it's like a cute little cottage, so that's good.
Okay, I hope everybody's subscribed. Now we're going to start doing the TikTok.
Yay!
Right,
So if you're not already following on TikTok, here comes the link a million times, because then...
oh, I'm going to do that off the other phone because I haven't got it on this phone. Don't want it on this phone.
And then I can do the Instagram.
I don't have TikTok.
Thank you, everyone that came on to the chat. I hope I entertained you.
Yes.
Thank
Oh,
you.
what did I just do? Sorry, I'm pressing random buttons. There we go. Right, I've shared all the links, so everybody go join.
Right, I've just got to put one more.
Thank you.
Oh, sure.
Oh, hey, Debbie. I didn't see Debbie come in.
That Mayhem and Miracles.
Yeah.
Hey, Debbie.
Yeah, I'll join all these things on that phone.
Hey.
I'm going to stop using the phone from the computer set up.
Thank you, Amy.
Amy, just to let you know, I think your stickers have turned up, but it's given me a thing to, I've got to go pay for them. So I'm going to go down and do it. But obviously I need to be able to go to the post office. So
Right. I've just put Marita's link in for her Amazon for a book, so go over and check them out, please.
okay,
Marita, do you do stickers? Marita,
Yes, I'm sorry.
do you do stickers?
Yes, I do have some stickers. If any of you guys here in the panel want my stickers, just contact me on social media and send me your address and say, yeah, I was on Mark's chat live with you, and I will send you guys stickers. And if you want to send me stickers, of course.
If, I can send you over the whole pack of stickers of everybody's if you want, and then if you would like, if you send me a little pile of stickers, I can put them in packs because I give them out to everyone.
That would be great.
So wouldn't that be through email? Wouldn't that be easier to contact you through it?
Sure. Oh yeah. Any way to contact me? Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, that's cool.
Awesome.
Anton says he'll have one.
Anton. I think you've got another
Anton's
fan.
So
probably
we'll-
fangirling.
Yeah.
It's a lady that
think
loves
so.
snakes. Anton's in his element.
Awesome. Yes, we can be friends.
Amy, don't worry about that. I just need to get to the post office. I'm not worried about the money. Don't worry.
Awesome.
Well done.
Mm.
Well, thank you guys
Anyway.
so much.
Right,
Yeah.
guys, I'm going to close the stream here. Marita, I can't thank you enough. Really
Thank you guys
appreciate it.
so much.
And
It's wonderful.
hopefully, I'll be able to do the same again with you sometime.
Yeah, definitely. Let me
Brilliant.
know.
Okay.
All right. Thank you guys.
Thank you, everyone in chat.
Have a good
Bye,
night.
everyone in chat.
Take care,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.
See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
See you
Thank
tomorrow.
you. Night, everyone.
She's gone.
Oh, bye.